Hey everybody, welcome to Professor DiMaggio's Gaming. So I got a request for what new master players can do to play more effectively, grind ranked, because it really is a different beast when you get to master rank. Obviously the skill level steps up quite a bit. And so I'm not going to spend too much time on the sort of setup here. I just wanted to sort of make a video to help people in terms of the stuff that I've been using to get. If you're playing Rashid, right, as a new master player, like what are some good tips that would help you get to plus 1500 MR level skill in terms of play style? And so basically, like, the stuff I'm going to be showing you here is stuff that I use in matches, particularly ranked matches, that I think realistically will help you get to at least high master, and also realistically will help you play competitively, as I am able to do, somewhere between about 16 to 1700 MR between about high master and grandmaster level play. So, yeah, we'll just jump into it. So first things first, I think you want to basically be comfortable in your own skin in terms of basic sort of normals when you're playing footsies and sort of neutral, with like what kinds of things can you do that would allow you to just sort of, poke around against your opponent. So, I mean, there's just basically a lot of different stuff that you can sort of do here. A lot of this should involve, like, as you're close, starting with, your lights and moving into heavies. And if you connect on any of this with hit confirm, you should be able to sort of turn that into combos as you're seeing here. As you can see there, the rolling nail is, or the roll is not actually bad after like a light punch, heavy punch. If you do the heavy cyclone into the roll, if they don't try to interrupt you during the heavy cyclone, which they can. I mean, obviously nothing's like unbreachable in this game, but if you do the heavy cyclone and you do the roll after, usually be +1, so you can do more pressure after that. Things like light punches and maybe even a medium mixer if you connect. So this kind of pressure going from lights to heavies, I think, is important. Knowing how to do this sort of stuff in neutral. And if you connect on, the heavy cyclone and a roll, being able to finish with things like, a heavy mixer. It's another option. Or even going into like a throw if the person's really defensive and blocks a lot. Things like strike throw mix up, I think you should be doing. Like tick throws, so so drive rush into like light, like a really fast normal, like a light kick, and then going for a throw. This is really good for trying to get, opening up your opponents for people who like to block a lot, right? This kind of stuff should be in your toolkit. Using things like your forward medium punch, whether it's just sort of regularly using it as a zoning tool or using it as drive rush and getting some extra plus frames so you can push more buttons after, like safely light punches. Usually when you space them out with a couple light punches, you can go for things like, crouching medium kick. If you're just doing sort of basic pressure here, you can do that into stuff like a light mixer. If you have somebody who is a DI spammer, it is really useful to use something like this. You can do a drive rush, crouching medium punch into crouching medium kick, light mixer. Go for a throw after, because you're going to get enough hits here to break up the drive impact. So having something like this in your toolkit too, just for zoning, is good in general, and for busting up DIs. Fishing for jumps, I think, matters. People like to jump, so the heavy shot, the whirlwind shot, you can use that to go into things like a slide and do a level 1. Get a lot of damage, like around 30%. Or you can go into other things like drive rush combos. Having that as part of your toolkit, as part of your neutral, that you're playing, footsies, you're playing in the neutral, and you're sort of fishing for those jump ins and getting an anti-air and, taking your defense and turning it into offense. This is the kind of stuff you should be doing at early master. Drive rush, medium punch pressure in general is really good because you typically tend to be +5 after the drive rush medium punch, even if they block. And so you can do that. You can go into things like another medium punch, the target combo, additional pressure if you want. It's basic sort of, neutral pressure sort of stuff here using his strong buttons. The medium kick you should also be using during your neutral play. It's got really good range. You could do it regularly, or you could do it as part of a drive rush and do additional pressure like you're seeing here. That's all really good. What we're going to do now is we're going to look into, also as part of your neutral game, another thing that you really should be doing as a new master player is practicing in training room how to get good at whiff punishing, because this is a really important part of slow playing with Rashid. So typically you're going to be using your standing HK for this because it's got the best range in terms of a neutral punish. The trick for this that I've talked about in previous videos is that if you stand at a far enough distance, which usually is like right about there, right? Where they can push any sort of normals and they're not going to probably reach you, but you can reach them with your HK. That's sort of the trick, and just wait to see any kind of movement at all, because if you wait until you recognize what specific button they've pressed, it's going to be too late to whiff punish. You want to hit that HK right when you start seeing movement at this distance, because they're not going to hit you if you're properly spaced, but you can also hit them. So things like the HK and a really good setup for this that I think new master players should be using is going into forward medium punch, into a meaty setup for drive rush crouching light kick, into more damage. Alternatively, to keep them guessing, you can do the HK whiff punish into the forward medium punch and the drive rush throw. Both of these are really good in terms of how to utilize the standing HK whiff punish for a new master player. Next up is perfect parry. This is something you should be baking into your game plan. Perfect parry is really strong in this game. You want to be doing it ideally in a way where you're not putting yourself at risk for throws. So a really great setup for new master players is to go into a drive rush crouching medium punch, standing medium kick, and you're going to be -3 as you can see here. This is a really good setup because after the standing medium kick, you're actually far enough away here that they can't throw you if they want to. If they go for a throw whiff, you can whiff punish that with something like a medium kick into more pressure, like a forward medium punch, light eagle spike. But basically, you're safe here, right? Because you're far enough away that they're not going to be able to throw you. And when they push a fast button, you're going to be more likely at -3 to be able to land a perfect parry. So yeah, this is something you should definitely be doing. And whatever other combo you want to do for corner carry after is really good. Basic anti-air setups, you should be taking time in neutral to play defense. You should be setting aside time explicitly to do this, to give your opponent time to hang themselves. The best anti-air with Rashid is probably medium mixer, not because it gives you a lot of damage, but because it gives you better setups for Oki. So one thing you can do as a sort of mini game with medium mixer is you can make your opponent guess between 3 things. Becomes they have to guess, right? You can do dash into drive rush crouching light kick meaty, which is one way to have pressure, which is really good. You can do a drive rush into a manual timed meaty throw, or you can just do medium mixer into drive rush overhead. All of those are going to be really good in terms of making your opponent guess and getting Oki off of your defense. If you use heavy mixer as your anti-air, probably the best setup I've seen for new players and just in general is to go into a dash and then drive rush into crouching medium punch as your meaty. And then if you want additional pressure after that, you could try to, because you're going to be really well spaced and it's a frame trap, because you did a drive rush into crouching medium punch, you can go and do a crouching medium kick after. You could finish that with some simple pressure like a light mixer, or you could drive rush cancel. So that would look like this. Another really good thing for new master players to be doing is to be using your fastest buttons on drive rush, in addition to all the other stuff I've been showing you. And what that looks like is usually using drive rush crouching light kick, or sometimes standing light kick, or you could do just drive rush standing light punch. Any of those are really good startups because they're so fast and you're likely to connect because they're so fast. And even if you don't connect, they're still safe because you're plus after. So you've got enough time to either hit confirm or block if you don't connect. But basically, like what I'm going to show people here, these are some really good setups for ranked, where if you can get one of these fast buttons and do a fast startup for drive rush, you could actually parlay that into not just corner carry, but various safe jumps. So I really strongly recommend these. as openers anytime you're in ranked, because if you don't really know who you're playing, the safe jumps become really important as a way to continue your pressure early in a match, even if you don't have enough information on a player yet about if they're a YOLO player, if they do EXDPs on wake up or supers. You can use the safe jumps to continue your pressure either way. So here's some good setups you can do with that. One is the drive rush crouching leg kick into additional pressure. You can see on the screen here what the sequence is for this to get you plus 42, which sets you up for a safe jump. As you can see, that it will actually connect if you jump forward after that sequence. And you are protected against an EXDP. It does check out at plus 42. Here's a second really good setup that involves finishing with a medium cyclone instead of a light cyclone, as you saw with the last one. And this one will leave you plus 41 for a jump forward, which is safe as well. It connects and it's safe as a safe jump. Okay, what about with corner carry and DI? Having the ability to do DI in the corner obviously is important. I think obviously people are looking for DI in the corner, so you want to sort of dress it up and make it meaty. I don't think you ideally want to do like raw DIs that aren't meaty, because if you have a meaty setup for your DI, people have almost no time to actually recognize what you're doing and react to it. So dressing up the DI at a higher level ranked play at 1500 plus MR is important. I do think this should be part of your toolkit, although you want to be careful not to abuse it, because if you're doing too many DIs in the corner, then your opponent just starts looking for it preemptively and guesses that you're going to do it, and they start doing DIs back, and that backfires. So a really good setup would be, you can see here on the screen, drive rush into, let's say, for example, I don't know, as a startup, 2 medium punches. If you connected, you could do a heavy kick into more pressure. This is really sort of a funky setup, but it's actually a really good one. This one involves the target combo into an EX Cyclone, and then you do a dash. After the dash, you hit forward medium punch into light Cyclone. Back and kick sets you up for a meaty DI. The reason why this setup is so good is because it looks really funky, and you're sort of dressing up the DI as part of what looks like the end of your combo sequence for the corner carry. And people just haven't really seen this setup. I never see Rashids do it, pro or anywhere or anyone else, in terms of pro players or just regular Rashids. So if people don't see this, it's actually a really good tech for you to take advantage of and abuse at the beginning of a match. And people were probably not going to see the DI coming. If they manage to stop it somehow with a counter DI or a parry, it's only because they guessed right, because this is a meaty DI setup. So you're not going to be able to recognize it's a DI in real time and shut it down. So here's what it looks like with the dash. And you're sort of seamless there going into your DI. Okay, once you've got them in the corner with the DI, what can you do to sort of optimize that? One thing you can do is just go into a safe jump, right? Like you can do the medium kick into the light mixer, into forward medium punch light cyclone, and that'll shoot you forward. If you push back and kick into the sort of infamous overhead meaty that Rashid has in the corner that's manually timed. Obviously, as a master player, you should be mixing up that overhead setup with things like going into throw or going into a low hit, for example, a crouching light kick into more combo damage. So this is a mini game that all the pros play and all the advanced high-ranked Rashid players use, is this corner safe jump setup that involves the forward medium punch light cyclone into the overhead. You should practice that in training room. You should be able to do it as a new master player. If you aren't able to do it, work on it, because it's extremely strong and you should have it as part of your toolkit. If you are not very good at that setup that I just showed you and that is so popular, you can sort of, in the meantime, while you're working on this in the lab, do the poor man's version of this, which is the DI into medium kick, forward medium punch, light cyclone, rolling nail. And what this does is it's safe as a safe jump at plus 42. So you're still going to get your safe jump if you jump forward. And you could always do an empty jump into throw. So this is sort of, like I say, your poor man's version of the overhead setup, because you still get a safe jump overhead, and you can still do an empty jump into a throw. You can't actually do an empty forward jump and try to go for a crouching light kick. So there is an option for a a low off of this as well. So, it's not bad. It's not bad as the poor man's version of the overhead safe jump, and something to sort of use as a new master player if you're not able to do the previous sequence I was showing you seamlessly yet. Basic corner throw pressure. This is just some safe sort of setups here after a throw when you've got them in the corner that you're not really exposing yourself to anything risky, and sometimes if this stuff connects, you can go into combos. One really good setup after a throw is drive rushing into standing HK. This is a frame trap. So if you do the drive rush standing HK and they block, if they push a button after that, they're going to get hit if you push a fast button. So you'd need to push after the drive rush standing HK if they block. The frame trap is if you do something like medium punch into a target combo and other pressure. So here's your frame trap. If they push a button, you can do a combo. That's actually really good, I think. Safe and strong. You can do throw loops and should be doing throw loops at a high level, mixing it up with shimmies after a throw loop. You should be running into standing medium punch heavy kick, which is meaty. You can run into crouching medium punch for safe pressure too. You can do drive rush forward HK into some light punches for safe pressure as well. I'm going to walk you through what I think are some of the best crouching medium kick drive rush cancel setups for new master players who want to get to 1500 plus MR and above. So no setups here are going to get you buttons that beat any kind of button someone could push, because there's always a button someone could push that's going to beat your setup, with the exception of one setup. If you do a drive rush medium punch, you're going to be +5. So that means pretty much you can push any button after the drive rush medium punch because you're so plus. And if they push a button, they're going to get hit. So this is the only setup where you've got an uninterruptible block string. I've talked about this in my previous videos. And so if you're trying to get a drive rush cancel crouching medium kick, this is probably the best setup. It's expensive because if you do the drive rush medium punch first and try to go into a crouching medium kick drive rush cancel, that ends up costing 4 bars. It's really not that much more expensive than if you tried to do a corner carry with a drive rush fast button into an EX cyclone into corner carry. So it's only 1 more bar than that. And I usually like to do this at the beginning of rounds because that way at least I know I'm not going to burn out. So some of the really good setups off of this typically tend to beat standing light punch if your opponent wants to push that. Include things like, well, this is a basic setup that beats everything, right? That one. But other ones that you can use would be like drive rush forward and heavy kick into a couple jabs into a crouching medium kick. That tends to beat most standing light punches. Another good one is, as you can see there, the drive rush standing medium punch into standing medium kick into crouching medium kick drive rush cancel. Tends to beat standing light punch as well. Again, none of these are as good as the first one I showed you, which is just drive rush medium punch into crouching medium kick. But you can't do that every time over and over, so sometimes it's good to dress these up in some other setups, even if they're not as good as the original one. What about some safe baits? This is something you should be structuring into your game plan at Master 1500 plus gameplay. You want to know who you're playing as an opponent, and you can't always do a safe jump, so the ability to use some safe baits early on in matches is really good. One way to do that is to do some corner carry, and you can have an option select here in the setup I'm going to show you, where after you do the Tempest Moon, you can whiff a crouching medium kick into a crouching medium punch into a meaty throw. And if you connect on this, your opponent will think, if they see the crouching medium kick, next time if you do it a second time, they're going to think you're going again for the meaty throw or some kind of meaty setup. So what you can do is sometimes you can do a setup like this, the Tempest Moon and a crouching medium kick, crouching medium punch. Both of those are part of your frame kill setup, and then the throw is meaty. This is a good setup for just throws in general, and you can vary between that and doing the crouching medium kick into a backdash to try and bait. So for example, if you throw somebody on this, and then you take them to the corner again with this, a second time and you do the crouching medium kick, they're probably going to think you're setting up for the throw again, and you can backdash and try and do all types of crazy stuff. If they think you're going to do a throw, they may do an EXDP, they may do a wake up super, but if you're going for the bait here, you're going to be able to block that with this setup. So, you do the Tempest Moon and the crouching medium kick. Oh, and this is another one, actually. So you can do a meaty DI after the crouching medium kick. So there's a bunch of things you can do after the crouching medium kick that allow you to do different setups, whether it's the crouching medium kick, crouching medium punch into throw, meaty, or the meaty DI. You know, you've got these different options. So you can mess with people. You know, so the optimal combos you can see here after, you know, the meaty DI. I put it on the screen. But you've got both of these setups that involve the crouching medium kick as a frame kill between the DI and the throw. And then you can use that if they know that you're doing that. You know, you can go into the crouching medium kick as a whiff, but this is a bait. You can backdash. Try and get people to push buttons, right? You're conditioning them. You're playing a mini game here to condition them. So this kind of setup allows, after the crouching medium kick, if you backdash, you know, it's safe. It's a safe option select. You know, you can anti-air with it if they jump forward, which they probably will. You can wait for the YOLO stuff some people like to do, and you can punish that with an optimal punish, as you can see on the screen. So that's all really, really good. Another good way that you can protect yourself in ranked is that you can use light punch as a whiff bait after heavy mixer. So if you go into the Tempest Moon after some setup pressure into a combo, you go into the Tempest Moon, which is the run kick thing here moving forward, finish with the heavy mixer. If you're really fast pushing the light punch there, what that does, why that's so good, is that a lot of players will see that light punch and they're going to think that you're setting up a frame kill for a meaty. But you're not doing that. You're actually baiting here. You have enough time to backdash and do a crouch block, and that's going to be an option select that gives you information about who you're playing if this is the first time you've taken a player to the corner and you're playing ranked and you don't know them very well. So you can go for safe jumps, or you can go this route, which is the light punch whiff bait into the backdash crouching block. And that option select is going to protect you. Even though you're -4, you're far enough away that it protects you from anything that a person can do. And basically you're paying for information here. It's low risk and potentially high reward. Because you can react to anything here that they're going to do off this option select. You can use it as an anti-air with the backdash. If they jump forward, you anti-air them. You can use it as a counter DI if they try to DI. You've got enough time to do that, as you can see here. If your reactions are good, you can do that. And so, yeah, like, and it's also, this setup also just works really well in general. I'll show you. The setup works really well in general. If they were to neutral jump here instead of forward jump, you can actually just push as sort of delayed pressure, standing HK, and on their way down, you're probably going to catch them with the anti-air for the standing heavy kick, and then you can go into a juggle. If they, on your backdash, try to go for a crouching medium kick, you're far enough away here that they're not going to be able to connect on a crouching medium kick into driver's cancel to try and get out of the corner. So this is actually a really safe, low risk, potentially high reward setup here as a bait, especially against YOLO players who love to EXDP or level 1 in the corner. I can't recommend this one enough. So there's no other way around this. You have to be familiar with shimmy when you're playing in master rank. And that means you have to be ready for when your opponent tries to shimmy you and how to stop that. And you also have to be aware of how you can use shimmy against them. Just waiting in the corner and being a little patient instead of trying to do a super or an EXDP and wake up all the time. You know, a lot of times opponents will walk forward and walk back and shimmy you on your wake up. And if they walk back, they're susceptible to the crouching medium kick, as you saw here, into driver's cancel. It's a really good time for you to use crouching medium kick to deal with shimmy from your opponent. You can do that mid-screen as well. Now, in terms of an actual shimmy on your end, One really good place to do that is off of the enhanced light mixer, off of Charge Shot. So you can do your own shimmy, not just reacting to their shimmy, but you can do your own shimmy here. So sort of a hard commit here. So you're going to want to push the heavy kick immediately after walking back in order to catch the throw in time. This is generally pretty safe unless they push a fast button on your shimmy. But yeah, like, obviously nothing is unbeatable, and like sometimes opponents are just vulnerable to shimmy, so you want to know that. So this is a really good setup to try and find out if that's the case. And so if they like to throw because they think that you're going to throw, you can get them to whiff on that. You can do a standing HK and all types of other pressure. Part of your game plan at 1500 plus MR as a new master player, if you have aspirations of getting up there, is to know some of the setups for the double medium punch meterless combos. These are very specific setups that are free meterless setups. So you want to be able to do some of these, because if the opponent blocks the first medium punch, oftentimes an opponent will push a button because they think that they've blocked, but you're going to be plus on the crouching medium punch, and so you'll be able to go into another medium punch because you're so plus into combos. So here's some really good setups for that. One of those setups is that you can take them to the corner. You can do a forward heavy punch, which whiffs and sets you up at a +8, which gives you the crouching medium punch meaty into the medium punch heavy kick. Another really good setup, if off of drive impact, is to do medium punch heavy kick into heavy mixer, and a medium kick whiff push you at +7, which means if you're +7 to +8, you can go into the crouching medium punch heavy kick combo as you just saw there. A third really good setup with corner carry is after the heavy mixer to crouching medium kick whiff, and that puts you at +7. And that means you can also try and go for a double medium punch meaty combo setup, as you see there. Okay, what about overhead setups? You want to have some of these in your repertoire, especially meterless ones when you go for the forward heavy punch. Now, a forward heavy punch is strong in general, in that if you connect on it, that overhead, you can throw meaty after. And if you do it as a punish, if an opponent pushes a button, it combos. But you can also do it as a combo, even if they don't push a button, if you're plus enough in certain scenarios. So we're going to walk through some of those here. One of those really good scenarios is to go into the target combo, medium punch heavy kick, into a heavy cyclone, and into a light sky high. It's going to put you at +23. +23 is the magic number you need to do these overhead combos. So you can go straight into the overhead after this, and you can get into a quick button after, like a light punch, into a combo. That's all going to combo. So that's a really good setup off the light sky high. Another really good setup is the one you're seeing here. The target combo into heavy cyclone, back and kick shoots you forward into a medium punch in the air, and then as you land, go into the cartwheel, and that's going to also put you at +23. You can go into an overhead after that and do whatever kind of combo you want after, like the one you're seeing here. A third really good setup is after the medium spike in a combo, you can do a medium kick whiff. That also puts you at +23 for an overhead. This is really better for the corner because they can't back rise out of this. Okay, we're going to finish this out with the strongest level 2 setups. There are two really insanely OP strong level 2 setups. They're both in the corner. I'm going to walk you through them. This is stuff that new master players should be doing if you want to radically improve your chances in ranked of getting big damage combos and winning matches and climbing. One of these, they're both in the corner. One of them is if you do a throw. Off of throw, you can do some relatively fairly safe pressure here, where you go into a backdash and you bust out your level 2. I've shown people this before. All new master players, in my opinion, should be doing this. Once you bust out the level 2, you can go into a run and then go for a throw. If you get the throw, you've got enough time to drive rush overhead here and make this into a whole combo. Meterless version, after the drive rush HP, gets you about 41% damage, as you can see here. Or you could finish that up, that whole sequence, with an EX mixer into EX Sky High into Heavy Mixer, if you want to get the bells and whistles going here. and get even more damage. Finishing with the heavy mixer is going to get you around 50% damage. If you want even more damage after that, you can finish instead of the heavy mixer with the medium mixer into level 1 if you got it. Highly devastating combo here, as you can see. And this one's going to put you at 57%, which is insane. Okay, second level 2 setup, which is insanely good, is off of target combo in the corner into EX Cyclone. You're going to whiff a standing light punch, and if you push the button fast enough, you can go into the heavy Eagle Spike after, and that's going to set you up perfect for a level 2. This setup is so good because you can go into the overhead forward heavy punch without even using meter, and it not only is it going to hit meaty, and it's going to shut down any kind of EXDP or super that they're going to try and do, but if you hit on the overhead, you can combo too, which is crazy because you're using the wind buff of the level 2. And so you can combo with a light kick into a light spike, and if you hit on all of that, which you will if you hit on the overhead, right? You're going to go into the overhead, light kick, light spike, then the level 2 will connect. Then you can do another light spike into a heavy mixer. But that whole combo meterless is 42%. As you can see there, once you connect on the overhead HP, that is insanely good. And there's no risk here really, because let's say that they block high and you don't connect on the HP, and you try to go into like a light kick, light spike, and they punish you by pushing a little button, well, they're still going to hit with a tornado. So like you still end up winning there. And even if they block all of it and you don't connect on the HP or the light kick or the light spike, you're still not out anything. So there's really like zero downside at all to this setup. It's just so insanely good if you can do it. And you just get massive damage without even using any meter. Now, if you want to add some bells and whistles here, you can actually use meter. You know, the meterless version will get you 42%, but you can do things like after the last light eagle spike, after you hit with the level 2, right? You can do light eagle spike, you can do EX mixer, EX sky high, into the medium mixer level 1. That's going to get you some pretty crazy damage, about 50%. For watching, I know this video was a little bit on the longer side, or quite a bit on the longer side. There was really no way around that for this video. This is a distillation of, I don't know, probably like 2 years of me labbing Rashid and playing casual matches and ranked matches and figuring out what some of the best techniques are and tech to get you above 1500 MR if you want to do ranked play, and to get you into contention for High Master or Grandmaster. Obviously, whatever else you're doing that you find is effective and safe, you should also be incorporating into your game plan. But this is just, you know, more than a dozen things that I have found are really helpful and that are tried and true in terms of me being able to play competitively at this 1600 to 1700 MR level. If this video was helpful and you liked it, feel free to give it a like if you want. If you're not subscribed and you want to be, feel free to subscribe. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.